other modification that I like to do, particularly with the units where each individual part of the webbing is adjustable. You can see that quite often you get a little piece of slack on the insides. Now, I always like to have the loose parts on the inside and not the outside. I find on the outside they tend to flap a bit more. Now, they're not going to catch on things, I just find them far more untidy. So I want to end up with them in the middle, but what I want to do, I want to end up with some kind of rubber retaining band. So what I do is I buy a mountain bike inner tube. If you have a friendly bike shop that's got any they've used from repairs that are broken, then you can just take a piece, cut them up, and you have all of the little loops that you'll use around the unit to keep the webbing tidy. So I'm just going to show you now how I unthread and thread one of these to then use a retaining band, okay? So you'll see in a minute the plate itself, it's actually got 3 slots. And what you'll find, this is the XDeep Tech. Large slot, 2 small slots. Okay, the large slot means that it's going to have 2 pieces of webbing threaded through it. When you come to take the webbing, I'm going to slip a piece on, but I actually fold this in half, which makes that much easier to slide on and over. When you then come to run this, if you do one side at a time, you've got a reference, so you haven't undone them both together. Because it's really important that when you do this, that you get the right twist in the webbing. So I'm going to come up inside the big bar, down through the middle, and you can see that I actually had some rivets or divots in the webbing left over from where it was. One more time up on the inside, and then where there's that double width, that's where this piece comes back through. And now all I can now do is I can secure the excess webbing inside the rubber band. Now, it's highly unlikely you're going to grow this much, so I'll probably trim this back a little bit. Yes, you need an allowance for changing between suits. So if you do end up that you like a lot more slack, well, nothing stops you just folding it over a second time. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of is that the more times you fold it over, the more thickness you start adding. Now that's not super uncomfortable, you're not really going to feel it, but you just don't want to go mad with running loads and loads of excess, okay? So we're going to go and do the other side now. So now we finish the other side, guys. What you can see, same idea, the same route through the tri-glide, and again just a single piece of inner tube under here, and the two now are symmetrical. The movement of the webbing is the same and just looking a little bit tidier for me.